Hello class. Lately we've been adding fractions and everyone seems to be doing so well with that, so we're going to move on to multiplying fractions. I know you guys are super smart, so you should get this just as well as you did with adding. Let's get started. First, we're going to read the objectives. Students will be able to define greatest common factor, or GCF, simplify, and lowest terms. You're also going to be able to correctly multiply fractions and recognize that the result can be simplified by dividing the numerator and the denominator by their GCF. Now that you know the objectives for the day, we're going to check off the first bullet. To the definitions we go. Greatest common factor is our first definition. The greatest common factor between two numbers is the largest factor that they have in common. Simplify is our next definition. It means to reduce to a simpler form by cancellation of common factors. And lastly, lowest terms. That there is no number except one that can be divided evenly into both the numerator and the denominator. Now let's start practicing. We're going to start off with 2/3 times 2/5. I love this simulation because it helps me visualize how to multiply the fractions. So let's break this down. We know that 2 times 2 equals 4, so that makes the numerator 4. Well, if we multiply the numerators together, we have to do the denominators the same way. So we know that 3 times 5 equals 15. So 2/3 times 2/5 equals 4/15. Let's check to see if our math is correct. Great job, guys, you did it. Now let's do another one. Let's do 1/4 times 4/5. We have to apply what we learned from the last problem to this one. So we know that 1 times 4 equals 4. So the numerator will be 4. We also know that 4 times 5 equals 20. So 20 is our denominator. So 1/4 times 4/5 equals 4/20. Well, wait, they also have it equaling to 1/5. Well, let's see how they did that. We're gonna simplify. So 4/20. Well, we know 4 can be broken down into 1, 4, and 2. For 1 times 4 and 2 times 2. We also know that 20 can be broken down into 1 and 20 for 1 times 20, 2 and 10 for 2 times 10, and 4 and 5 for 4 times 5. Well, how did they get 4/20 to equal 1/5? Well, let's see if they have the same number in common. They both have 1, but is that the biggest? No. They both have 2. Is that the biggest? No. 20 only has 20 and 10 and 5, so that wouldn't work. They both have 4 in common, so let's try 4. 4/20 divided by 4/4 does equal 1/5. So now that you guys know how to simplify and multiply fractions, we're going to take a short quiz on Socrative to see how well we can do it on our own.